What's up, World Edit? What's up, Chewy? Hope you guys are doing good today. Let me check my audio. Yeah, okay. We're fine. Today, of course, we are working on Christmas Sophie. Well, I take that back. There are a couple Christmas Sophies, I think. Maybe two? I don't know. We're working on Rooftop Sophie, the one that everybody has in their kit. This, of course, we're splitting into 2 episodes. I did not Zenithal Prime this time around, only because it's going to take us a little bit longer. If you did Zenithal Prime, it's not a big deal. It's just gonna, you know, be a little bit easier for you. So there you go. Next weekend, we're having our first Patreon class of the month. Make sure you sign up to become a Patreon scholar. Patreon.com/minipaintingstudio. We are just now starting the next 6 months worth of content, as well as some other brand new Coolio Ulio thing. So definitely check that out. I updated the Patreon. So the second you join my Patreon, starting at the $5 level, you get 36 different classes. So, if you think I am on the same level as these other Patreon people that delete old videos, only offer you, you know, what you see is what you get for that month and everything goes away, no, I'm an idiot. I'm an absolute moron. I am giving away so much stuff to you guys for the lowly price of $5 a month. Now then, what ends up happening every 6 months, I take some of the old $10 videos, remix them, throw them into the permanent sort of archive of classes for you guys. And that's kind of how we aggregate all the content. So if you've never checked it out, you know, the best way to support me, other than buying anything off of my Amazon holiday gift guide, that is exclamation point Josh's things in the chat, is to support me directly through Patreon. That's literally how I make the majority of my income. So increasing that if you got $5 or more. It goes all the way up to private lesson tier, which is pretty expensive. Gotta be honest there. But all the way up to $20 pretty much is where everybody rocks and, you know, hangs out. And we're going to be getting started on that. So if you do join, right, you've got a week to get on there, look at the whole schedule. You can look at the miniatures that are required. You can go through and look at, like I said, the 36 other classes. So that's, so honest, I don't know if you guys understand. That's nearly 70 hours worth of content. That's actually probably over 70 hours worth of content that's available for you immediately, start to finish, painting videos. So do keep that in mind. We're definitely big time advertised, Josh, today. Remember, join the Scholar program, patreon.com/minipaintingstudio. And if you have your Amazon Prime sub, go ahead and give it to Reaper. I don't want it. I don't want it. Give it to Reaper. Just click that sub button. If you have Amazon Prime, you can give your Jeff Bezos dollars to Reaper directly at no cost to you. Who doesn't like regifting? You can feel a little bit like Robin Hood, right? We're gonna take from the rich and give to, well, not the poor, but we're gonna support Reaper. So make sure you do that. They don't automatically renew those subs for you. This song is extra spicy trash. Give me 1 second to skip this nonsense. I'm not trying to listen to that. There we go. 9 Christmas Sophies. Well, Nomad, that's more than I could ever need. All right, we can go ahead and get started here. We're gonna hop and skip. Boop. Hey, we made it. We made it. We're live. Not the best priming job on Sophie here today, but it's all right. Paint is paint. 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 All right. We did work on this project for Patreon last Wednesday, where we painted the severed orc head. So you can see the nice severed orc head there on the base. This plinth was made by Jacob Jansen. Shout out to Jacob. Oh yes, thank you, Nomad. You can also support me with the Amazon link. With the Amazon link. There were still some phthalo greens for sale on the website. They got uploaded there. If I remember correctly, there were 26 of them in stock. up to like an hour ago. They could be gone. I don't know. But either way, so look, I started 3D printing stuff. Do you like this miniature? do you like how small this is? I don't want to talk about 3D printing just because of some different things. If you're on my personal friends list, you saw me kind of complain about the hypocrisy of 3D painting Patreons. Some of them out there. Oh, I'm actually finishing the cape right now. It's a 11-hour print, so it'll be done at, I think, 7 p.m. this evening. But as long as my dad isn't watching, I've been printing a bunch of barbarians for him for Christmas, and this goes along with that release. But that's kind of beyond everything else I've been working on. That was kind of what I was up to over the weekend and such. But all right, so let's get started. Let's keep it real easy to begin with today. We'll work on the house. How about that? What's funny is the back of the house isn't sculpted, but the front of the siding is. It's such a mystery. Now, with the painted version for the box, obviously I added like snow to the actual house, but we'll just paint it out proper and pretend that it deserves our love and respect. So, I'm going to grab... Let's see, how do you want to do this? How do we want to do this? I feel like Matt Mercer asking that question. So let's go ahead and do Intense Brown. Easy peasy. Alright, let's see. Oh yeah, Keldor, do let me know. I think I let everybody in. Let me know if I didn't let you into the Facebook group, but I'm moving away from like sort of controlling content into the Facebook group because everything's getting posted now on the Patreon. Before I didn't do that just because I have, free people in the Facebook group, but that way, either way, you'll have access to stuff no matter where you're at. But do let me know because I directly know who you are since you said that in the chat. But I also have to audit the Facebook group, remove a bunch of people. That's what I'm the worst about is getting people out of that group that are no longer patrons. But it is what it is. I'm a kind-hearted business person. That probably explains why I need money. I'm just kidding. All right, so we're gonna use Intense Brown, and I'm just gonna base coat the siding here. We're just gonna pretend this is wood siding. Actually, let's just, go all the way up underneath the shingles there. Yeah, and you do get a discount, too. I forgot about that as well, because once PayPal took their cut. What's funny is when you joined Keldor, too, I was trying to figure out, what it is you actually signed up for, because you get I think it's a 10% discount by purchasing a year. Let's go ahead and paint the bag as well. I think you get a discount there, and so with that discount, and then Patreon's cut, and then PayPal's cut, the total amount that I received, I was like, what is this money? Like, it literally didn't add up at all in my head as to, like, what tier it could have been or anything like that. But makes it easy on you, right? Because you just have access. And there were quite a few people when okay, cool. It's a relatively new thing on Patreon, too, that they rolled out. And I know some people, they had one problem with it where if you sign up and you pay for a year and then you cancel it because you don't want it to renew, some people lost access to the Patreons, and I don't know if that's still a thing. It shouldn't be. It was like a glitch, right, when they first rolled it out. So I haven't heard people talking about it recently or anything. But now, even though this part isn't sculpted, we're just gonna pretend that it is. So we're just gonna do a little freehand here. Yeah, if you don't Facebook much, it's all good. The only stuff you're losing is I was gonna give away some bottles of the clear orange and phthalo green, and I'll do that through a Patreon post too. But really, you're just missing kind of people post work in progress or whatever else. So, not the classes themselves. All right, we're gonna let that dry. I'm gonna get Noir Black here. I like how the palette cam is like totally not even in the right place. Boom, there we go. We're gonna make a little wash. So I'm trying to decide, let's do, what color, like, There's a green in this set, right? Hold up, let me, I'm almost 100% certain. So there are some bottles of clear phthalo green, for those that have been dying to get it. I don't know how many. I could dump them into the cart right now and do a little trick to tell you. Let's see. We're going to copy this. We're going to do turbo add. And we're going to put 50. So currently there are 25 bottles left on the website. I just removed them from my cart. But if you were trying to get it, they're available. Making it hard for myself. Painting over black isn't hard at all. But since this episode is going over 2 sessions, that's why I decided to do it, just to make it longer. So whenever I paint directly on top of black, this is the style that I get. So you can see this miniature, this weird post-apocalyptic 3D printed cyberpunky guy. My style without a zenithal is actually a lot darker. Contrast is a lot sharper. I don't do it a lot just because it's more time consuming, I suppose. I don't necessarily like the super duper, you know, like Darkest Dungeon look, right? Hyper contrast, but it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, so Naga Green. I'm gonna use Naga Green. We're gonna make it really dark and do, like, I don't know, a very dark green, and then we'll probably highlight it with like a grayish color, because shingles are always kind of like a weird offish color. Very dark neutrals. All right, so I'm gonna take some Noir Black, a little bit of the green. That looks pretty good to me. I'm gonna add a little bit more of the green there. There we go. Just imagine jungle green, right? Or jungle moss. The color they don't make anymore. Rest in peace. And we're gonna go ahead and coat our shingles here. But I hope everybody's doing all right out there today. We had a lot of snow here. We had 4 inches of snow yesterday. And today, it's melting. Sydney got spooked. She didn't think she was going to work today. And then they got called in. And then she left, and her car like slid over a curb when she was trying to get gas, and so she was like, I'm not gonna do that, but it should be fine tomorrow. Yeah, Oklahoma hadn't had snow in like 2 years for real. We obviously had that terrible ice storm that messed everything up for us, but it's been a while since we've just straight up had snow. Okay. It was funny, Garrus has never been around snow. He's been around, like, ice, right? But never snow. And so he was super confused. He did not want to go outside. He was like, what is this? And he's, like, prancing around, kind of. I don't know if he's pooped in 2 days, but he's hanging in there. All right, I'm going to take Tempest Gray. Should we do gray bricks or red bricks? All right, we're gonna take our time, so we're gonna make this look nice. Since this is the last miniature of Miniature Monday for 2020, may as well go all out. So I'm also gonna get cinnamon red out here. We're gonna do it to it. This may be a 2-palette paint job day. Let's see. And then I'm also gonna take Ogre Skin. I just got a weird chill. Do I still have swarthy flesh out here? I should. It's hiding. Alright. So, I'm just going to take Tempest Gray. We're going to do the edge of our chimney right here. Remember when you were in college and every college hangout house had a chimney outside in the backyard? Remember when that was like a thing to have? Kind of like the college party house always had a room with a hookah in it. Maybe it's a generational thing. I don't know. But I swear, every winter party in college, every house had either a really crappy fire pit or a chimney. And then the person whose house it was, they would like insist up and down, like, we gotta go outside and enjoy the chimney. I'm like, no. No, it's 3 degrees outside. Are you crazy? And then 8 drinks later, you're like, let's go outside. Let's go to the chimney. It's not that cold. Looks like I got a blanket on. Alright. Got our nice little stone rim there. So now we're gonna play Paint the Bricks. It's a great game to play. So I'm gonna take a little bit of Noir Black. Just a little bit. A little bit of the gray. A little bit of the cinnamon red. Make it nice. That's not. I'm gonna add a little bit of our intense brown. There we go. That looks like a nice brick color. And I'm gonna play randomly choose your brick. It's a fun game. And we're gonna randomly choose our bricks here. I don't want to use the same color next to a brick. I mean, maybe I'll break that rule, but so you'll see what I'm doing. Just kind of picking and choosing the bricks to use this color with. Yeah, we'll do these two the same. Over here, we'll do one. No, I don't know if that's a little piece of flash or what sticking out right there, but every party house did have a hookah. I know, I'm telling you, it's like in the handbook of house parties. And there's always that one guy that like wants to be leader of the pack, and he's like constantly turning the coals. It's like, oh, this one's out. This one's almost out, guys. And you're like, it's all right, dude. Steve, calm down, Steve. Steve just being the generic himbo name. Yeah, I'm gonna add a little bit on the back. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna add a little bit more of the Tempest Gray and some of our yellow. Okay, looks like that didn't do anything. All right, I'm gonna grab some of the swarthy flesh here. We're gonna use that to highlight it up the brick. We figured out you're only a year or two older than me. You're 48? What are you talking about? I didn't know you're that old. That's crazy. Alright, so I'm going to add some of the flesh tone to our brick color. A little bit more red. There we go. A little bit more of the flesh tone. There we go. Alright. So, I want to vary the color. Turn 48. There you go. Oh, river folk, huh? Makes sense. It's like people that live in the country have field parties. People had those here too, and I thought it was the stupidest thing I'd ever heard of, because what they did was they would literally just pick a random. They would just drive to the middle of nowhere and just like hop a fence into a random person's like property, like a field. And like that to me is like, well, what happens if the person doesn't want you there, right? Or people that would have hotel parties. Now that's like next level stupidity. Pay cash for a hotel and just invite a ton of people. That's always freaked me out when I'd hear about those. Alright, so I'm going to add even more of our flesh tone. Some of the gray. Now we've got a very strange neutral color here. Cool. Actually like this pattern we got going on now. A little bit more right here. I think we're only going to do one more color, so I'm going to try and fill in as much as I can. Oh no, I painted myself into a corner here. Painted myself like one of my French girls, right? Is that a meta enough? Jokey wokey. Alright, so I gotta do this one, since that's gonna repeat itself. Alright, so I'm just gonna grab like yellow, maybe some green. There we go. The yellow and green definitely was a good trick. And put that right here. Dang it, I did mess it up. It's okay. It's alright. It's a learning experience. This is one of those moments, kind of like, you know when your math teacher would get, like, the problem wrong? And you're like, are we supposed to say anything? Paint up this one. Okay, and then that right there, so I'm just gonna get some red. Okay, so now we can wash everything. Alright. So, let me see this comment here. Been having some real painter's block. Any tips for getting back into it? When we back in the seat and confident for my Reaper Bones arrives? Well, you got plenty of time to figure that one out. But, so, is it like, are you burnt out, or do you just have painter's block, like, you're just completely uninspired? So, if you're completely uninspired, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of how to sort of, like, look at life a little bit differently. So, if you're just sort of lacking inspiration, then... yeah, to Project Overload, exactly, Chewy. So, if you only like a certain genre of miniatures, immediately either start looking at nothing but the opposite. So, like, if you only like 40K, for example, or like sci-fi stuff, just look at fantasy paint jobs. Obviously, if you're looking at paint jobs anywhere, you're going to see everything. But pay more attention to the opposite genres you don't really pay attention to. If you are sort of like... If you only buy miniatures to use for something, so if you only buy minis to paint for a D&D or some role-playing game, or if you only buy miniatures because you play Warhammer or you play War Machine or whatever, right? Just buy something to paint only, right? Like, you're not going to use it for anything, you're just using it to have fun. If you have never painted a bust before, I always say, buy a bust, right? There is no better time than right now for you to do your first one, even if you're a new painter. I don't care how long you've been painting. If you've never done one, just do one, and that'll kind of reset your palette. Then the other thing, so if you are just like burnt out on minis, or like you feel like you're exposed to too many miniature things, stop looking at miniatures, right? So like, if your Facebook is nothing but miniature pictures, if your Instagram is nothing but miniature painters and fake studios and a bunch of tryhards, right, that only want to impress people, stop looking at all of it. Like, literally stop, right? So some of the best musicians out there will tell you that either A, they don't listen to the music that is like in their genre or their competition. So like, there are a lot of rappers that are really awesome that don't listen to rap music. There are a lot of rock and roll musicians that don't listen to rock music, right? Or they listen to really old stuff. They don't listen to anything contemporary. So it's that same sort of mentality, right? Of like, if you're oversaturated with miniatures, just stop. And it'll slowly help like wean you away from comparing yourself to others, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. I have a hoodie to prove it, right? So like, even if you don't think you're comparing yourself to other people, it's going to happen subconsciously because our brains are stupid. We're all really smart, but our brains are really stupid, right? Like, they love to trick us. If our brains were perfect, antidepressants wouldn't exist, right? So, you know, very normal to get oversaturated. Then, the other thing that I always suggest to people is start looking at art. So, start looking at, like concept artists, fantasy artists, whatever the case is. There's a direct correlation in terms of the process of digital illustration and painting that translates to miniature painting. What I mean by that is, let's say you're wanting to learn how to paint gems, jewels, lenses, glass, non-metallic metal, right? If you search any of those terms in Google and you say, painting swords, digital art, you will literally usually get a bunch of results. Now, someone do a hot take and go do this and prove me right. So if you search painting gems or painting jewels and then digital art and you hit enter, you're going to find image results of step-by-step processes, right? Of people doing that through digital art. Literally, those same steps will work in painting miniatures. So I always suggest start looking at either videos of digital illustrators, things like that, in a style you enjoy or something crazy that you would never attempt, and you'll start picking up that feeling like, oh, I could do this on a miniature, or I want to try that, right? And you'll start getting inspiration that way. Then at the end of the day, if you feel like you're just in a rut and you're not enjoying the things that you used to enjoy, that probably is more indicative of, you know, you are just going through a hard time and maybe you just need to take a break from expecting, right, experiencing joy from the things you used to enjoy, because maybe you're putting too much subconscious pressure on yourself, right? Like, I used to like this and now I don't. What's wrong with me, right? Like, that's not healthy. So maybe you should just find something new. Maybe this is the 2 months of your life where you're just going to start binge watching Korean dramas with no subtitles and you don't speak Korean. It's a weird choice to make, but maybe that becomes a thing you like doing. Maybe this is when you learn to cook. Maybe this is when you learn to bake, right? Like, sometimes your hobby is not always going to be your hobby, and you can't enjoy the same thing forever. Same way you can't fix every problem with the hammer, same thing with the things you enjoy, right? So that's pretty much, my biggest advice for people that get either burnt out or uninspired. All of those things will help you maybe not fix your problem, right? But at least start helping you diagnose the direction to go in, to at least find something you can get good results out of, enjoy, learn something new, whatever. So hopefully that helps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Noir Black, as we always do, a little bit of intense brown. We're going to make a wash out of it. But yeah, I mean, the next Zoom meeting, it's alright. It's alright. If your Zoom meetings are starting to really make you a sad, depressed person, why don't you play little games that other people can catch on to? Why don't you start putting weird stuff behind you, right? Like little Easter eggs in the background of your Zoom camera, and see who starts noticing them, right? Like write a little note on a sticky note, something funny. Put it in the corner of the room, right? Little things like that. Just play little games where you know there's something funny going on. Other people don't know. So, but yeah, I feel like a lot of people that get like miniature painting is something that's so easy to get super involved with. You know, it's rewarding. It's always changing. There's always new stuff. People are always doing new things. But that being said, you know, you will get burnt out. You will just whatever. Like, you will expect to have fun painting minis, and then suddenly one day you won't. So, it's always important to remember, like, it's okay to not enjoy stuff you used to enjoy. And it's not that that means you just aren't going to ever like it again. It just means dig around for something else for a while, come back to it. Now, if it's your job, like it was for me, and I definitely get burnt out definitely got burnt out a lot. You know, this year has really proven, like, I don't necessarily care if I'm enjoying what I'm doing as long as I'm surviving still, right? But, you know, you just have to start taking things from a different angle. That's why I don't stream as much as I used to, right? Like, every day I would stream, didn't do that as much anymore. I don't work on the same projects like I used to work on. Like, you really have to learn how to pivot for your own good. And most of the time, it works out. But yeah, I mean, I'm not usually, if you know, I always used to paint in my spare time for fun, and I haven't done anything like that in probably a month. You know, I've been binging a lot of TV shows. Before that, I was playing a bunch of video games. Haven't been playing a lot of video games. So for me, it's just right now, I know painting is not what I'm having fun doing all the time. So when I am painting, I just need to do it less, so that way I have more fun doing it. And it'll just bring itself back around. That's kind of how it goes. This is going to be like my 5th year as a wannabe full-time... I'm not even a wannabe. This is my full-time job. But, you know, after a while, there's only so much you can do. And you just kind of got to learn how to pivot and make the most out of it. Dude, all the new music they've added to the service is like garbage. What is this? This definitely is not one of our normal producers. It's so funny. Same way I recognize other painters, I'm starting to recognize the producers on here. Yeah, I don't know who this is. It's somebody new. There's this guy, Gustav. His music's always really good. That's what this is. Alright, so I'm happy with this wash here on the chimney. So we're going to let this dry. We're going to start cracking at it. Let me see what I'm missing here. Scooby-Doo. Nobody noticed for over a week. That's pretty good. That's funny. My favorite Scooby-Doo movie is the one where it's the private school for girls, where it's like they're all daughters of famous monsters. So like one's a little mummy, one's a little Frankenstein. I forget what it's called, but that one's a good one. And then my second favorite one is the one where they're in Louisiana. Ghoul School. Hey, shout out to Artifacts 12. You get the gold star of the day. Thank you for playing. But yeah, that one, and then the Zombie Island one is really good. Ghoul School. That's such a throwback. How funny. Can I use this right now? I'm gonna use I'm gonna use the Vex as a glorified, expensive blow dryer right now to dry this mini. Ghoul School. Zombie Island's a good one though. Yo, you know what's wild? So like during Halloween, I think I put that on, and I forget what for. We were like eating dinner or something, and so I started playing it. Sydney had never seen it, and I kid you not, all like there are songs in it. I didn't remember like the song aspect of Scooby-Doo movies, and I literally remembered all of the lyrics, all of them. It came right back to me. And I don't remember if it was a Blockbuster thing where I would see those movies. I know that they were on Cartoon Network a lot, eventually. But I think some of them were just like at Blockbuster too when I was growing up. But all right. yeah, okay, there you go, Sharky. Okay. Here we go. Y'all want to do some bricks? That sounded like a drug reference, I'm sorry. You guys want to do some brick? Alright, so I'm going to grab just sort of that middle tone neutral color here. And we're going to paint up some bricks. So I'm just kind of following the natural texture here. That's pretty much all we need. That's not crazy. Easy highlight. see, where's this corner is probably about the same. Gotta go watch Dragon Ball Z, man. Hey, man, that Frieza saga, when that was premiering for the first time, that was like... That was crazy. And then, when you would rush home, because what, it'd be 4:30? What time would it be on? I think it was from 4 to 4:30. Some episodes were so good, you could not believe, like, it was only 4:15, right? Like, you would look at the clock, and you'd be like, oh, man, this episode's got to be over already, and it's only 4:15, and you're like, ooh, we only halfway through. I remember that experience as a kid. And then I remember the soul-crushing defeat. You know, sometimes there are these formative moments when you're growing up, and this is one of them. When you come home to watch Dragon Ball Z after school, you got your little snack, you got all the stuff you need, and then you realize it's a filler recap episode. Nothing worse. Nothing worse in life. No child deserves to experience the recap episode, man. That's just so bad. Could you imagine if, like, they released a streaming show, like, intended for streaming, like a Netflix original, whatever, but it had a recap episode inside? I feel like people would revolt. Man, there was like a whole era of my life. Like, there was this dude AJ in my neighborhood, and he was the first guy to figure out how to do ROMs on a computer, and he had the Dragon Ball Z fighting games on ROMs, and like, I remember that was big. He was king of the castle for a while in the neighborhood because everybody'd be like, we gotta go over there and play these games. And then he had some like Gundam, like I think it was like a Gundam Wing fighting game that was on a ROM, or like an emulator, sorry. He had all the cool stuff. And he was a little bit older too, so he would record the Adult Swim anime that came on. And he would like record Outlaw Star and other such shows, and Tenchi Muyo. I forget what they showed. Tenchi was during the day. That was regular Toonami programming, but he would film stuff that like you just couldn't normally see unless you were awake at 2. Oh, like Big O, stuff like that. Man, Big O was trippy. That's what I should look and see if I can find a 3D file for, is the robot from that. That was a really interesting show. Or like the original Cyborg 009. I'm trying to think of all these shows now, man. Like, I feel like nowadays if you're a weeb, it's like you're like a Crunchyroll, like it's just not the same as growing up being a Toonami watcher, you know what I mean? Like, that was just a cultural difference. Alright, let's get our highlight color here. They're still good. Yeah, the car in Big O was dope, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I have Outlaw Star, and I don't think I have Big O downloaded somewhere. Outlaw Star for me was the spaceship was really, really cool. I like that design. I feel like that era in anime, everybody kind of was designing spaceships the same way. Because some of the ships in Tenchi were like that. Obviously, Cowboy Bebop, the small ships were very similar in design. My favorite ships were from Tenchi. And I don't know if it was Tenchi Muyo in space or what, but it was the ones that were made of wood were like really fascinating. I like that. I like that art direction. And then there was like the bad guy that was a spaceship. Man, I'm like thinking about all this stuff. Talk about nostalgia. So you can see what we're doing here. We're literally just adding texture, highlighting up the bricks, spending time. You know what they say about Jay-Z? He lost 72 bricks and made it all back. That's a little hip-hop history for you. whether or not that story is true. Nobody's calling him out on it, that's for sure. Alright, so I think we've gotten all this color, maybe? No, this one right here. I've never watched as much of it. I know, man. Do you remember, do you remember Immortal Grand Prix? Like, I can't find the original. That would be such a good miniature game. So they aired some IGPX Immortal Grand Prix like one time, and then they did another series of it, or like season of it, that was totally different. And I cannot for the life of me ever find like the original version of it, and it was so cool. I remember that was around. They played like Blue Sub number 6. I'm trying to remember because I remember like the time period. But that show was so cool. It would make such a great miniatures game. Essentially, it was like, imagine Formula 1 racing, but with robots that also fought each other while they're racing. I don't know. It was pretty dope. Real Science 86. So yeah, what we do every Monday, this corresponds to a kit that is sold. So we put together kits, and they come with current. Well, this is the last one. You can buy other ones, previous kits though. So they're all themed. So this kit was a holiday theme. So like last week we painted up a bunch of killer penguins. You can see some of these here. And we painted up a Santa, and then now we're painting Sophie. Usually it's one miniature painted start to finish in about an hour and a half, 2 hours every week. This is a little bit different. We're doing it in 2 sessions. We're going to spend a little bit more attention because this is the last paint job of the year. And then into 2021, we're changing it up a little bit to where there will be a sort of like painting set you can buy, and then just a different miniature every week. And that's exciting as well. We've sort of previewed some teaser images for that stuff too. But so we've had a kit every single month over the last year, and each one comes with at least 4 miniatures and 8 paints. So you can check all that stuff out at reapermini.com. Obviously, it's recorded live, but then the episodes are up on YouTube as well. So that way, if you're someone that paints a little bit slower, if you don't have time to do it live, you can then go back later on your own time and follow along and paint up the miniatures. So that should be all of the info that you need. But moving forward, I'm really excited just because we have even cooler stuff planned out. So now I'm using the Tempest Gray here, and we're just going to outline and texturize our top of our chimney. But yeah, this is the only show with Reaper that's tied to a product. And that is like purely meant for you to like follow along at home and paint something in one sitting. It'll still follow that format. You know, everything that I do typically, it should be pretty approachable for painters of any skill level. If you're brand new, the techniques aren't too difficult. And if you're not brand new, I'm just fast. So a lot of people end up just trying to keep up with me live. That's kind of like their goal. But next season, 2021, I will be making things a little bit more difficult here and there. Like I want to focus in on like one part of the mini and do a more advanced technique, but everything else should be relatively the same. We'll have a wider selection of paints to use because they're not coming with a full-blown kit. Instead, it's just here's all the paints we're going to use all season. You can buy them if you don't have them, and then here are the miniatures we're going to do, so you can buy them if you don't have them, and then that's it. Rock and roll. But look at that texture. See that sweet texture we're getting? Will 2021 have more wearing pants? I would assume so, because like initially, right, we figured we would lose a few months to the pandemic when it started, not the entire year. So I'm assuming we're gonna be still rocking pants or no pants all the way through maybe May of next year, if I had to guess, like April, May. My friend that's an ICU nurse, she gets her vaccine this week, but she's still expecting, right? Because she's part of my long forgotten, long paused but never forgotten in-person D&D group, and we're expecting to start playing again sometime in late April or May. So I kind of trust her judgment there. She's been pretty spot on so far with her pandemic estimates. Which, being spot on with what's happening, obviously, you're like the bearer of bad news. You're like Nostradamus in the worst way. But she's optimistic, so I'm optimistic. Alright, let's continue on. Yeah, so if you go on the Reaper website, you can just type in Monday, and all of them should pop up in the... If you search, hit the search bar and type in Monday. Whatever they have available should pop up. They don't keep every single one in stock forever and ever. I know some game stores bought them too, which I thought was awesome. I saw some of the Miniature Monday kits in the wild. And then, like, I saw somebody, when the lockdown was happening and game stores were doing, like, auctions, right, of stuff that you could buy so they could ship it to you. I saw some people had those too, and that was really, really cool. Alright, so I'm happy with that. That looks nice. We could go a little bit brighter. Oh, we still have dark bricks, though. Hold up. Unacceptable. We need more of, like, this cinnamon red. We skipped some bricks, didn't we? Yeah. Very lazily highlighting this. I don't want this whole episode to be, hey, let's paint the bottom part of this house, but if that's what it turns into, then so be it. But it does look really nice, so, you know. You get what you get. Alright, let's knock out the rest, and then we'll tackle Sophie's sack. We'll go ahead and clip that. Give me a second here. I'm hearing things move around. Me sad. Okay. Okay. Alright. So let's do our... I want to take the Naga green and mix it with the gray here on the palette. You can't even see that. There we go. Maybe darken it slightly. There we go. A little bit more green, a little bit of the flesh tone, a little bit more of the flesh tone. There it is. Good highlight color. How do you keep up with the 2021 info? If you're on Facebook, you would just, I mean, either follow the Reaper page on Facebook, the official page, or join the group because they always post anytime the new stuff is up. I guess you could join the Discord. I don't really keep up like with the announcement section on the Discord, but that info is there too. You can follow my page on Facebook because I always let people know whenever new stuff's happening, obviously. You can follow me, Mini Painting Studio. And that's pretty much it. I have no idea when the new paint kit goes on sale. They've got everything they need for me, so it'll just be a game of when does it go on sale? Hopefully before January 1st. But either way, it'll be available. I'm literally just using my brush here and over brushing, so it's not really dry brushing. I just have such small amounts of paint on the tip of my brush that I'm just kind of dragging it over the texture to highlight it. You could dry brush here, but you don't really have to. You can also paint it brighter and wash it down if you would like. A new Blood Bowl team. That's cool. I've always been so interested in Blood Bowl, but as I've grown older, I'm starting to learn the very expensive lesson of don't buy minis that you can't play with, so... I do always give credit though to the GW paint staff that paints up the Blood Bowl stuff, because they do like real paint jobs on them instead of like the the Citadel method of painting. They actually like go through and shade things, and it's like a totally different set of rules that they play by when it comes to painting up the box art stuff for Blood Bowl teams. So I always love seeing whatever they put out because it looks better than normal. And I do have some like STLs of like proxy teams. So if I do want to finally scratch the itch of painting fantasy football guys, I can print them and paint them. I probably will. I mean, I don't know why not. I've got so many things to print. But now that I feel semi-confident in printing things, which has been a nightmare experience so far, I'm definitely just going to be painting up very random stuff. I got a bust of Porco Rosso I'm excited to paint. I have all kinds of crazy stuff, actually, I've sort of collected. Now, if you want, you can go back and wash like different shingles down just to give it a little bit of a different feel. I'll kind of do that here with this corner color. So you can just lay this over random sort of areas to shift the tone around. You can't really tell now. You can see it right there. Just kind of like a glaze on top. To add some variance. We're not really decreasing the detail here, but we're just sort of shifting the hue. Meaning, we're just sort of altering the overall color without having to necessarily paint anything differently. There we go. So that'll dry with a little bit of variance. Alright, now we have our wood grain. So, I need some more intense brown. But thanks for hanging out with us today. Do appreciate you. As always, all of our regular rock stars that have been here. I feel like Trash has been here, I feel like, since day one. Let me know in the chat if you've been here since the very first episode. Let me know. You know, and I'm supposed to come down in January as well, because I have stuff to give to Collins. And I obviously would love to pop in and say hello. I don't know if I'm allowed to. But I definitely would pass the forehead scan. I know that much. But it would be funny if I could do a Miniature Monday from the new studio. That'd be really funny. Bro, Gary's been here since episode 1, huh? I did not know that. I brought it up before too, but a lot of people don't know. The actual, like, planning of Miniature Monday started in October of 2019. So it was quite a while before we even, got to the point to where we started it, so... And I'm just doing variants in the brush strokes here as I work my way down. And then when it comes to the actual wood, I will be doing a wood grain pattern. Easiest way to do wooden planks, do the edges on the left and right, and then gently go up and down. You can add some sort of like waves in between, but I will go back with one more highlight color to help bring some of these grooves out. Whoops. February kit, nice. Oh, the back. Right. The back. We're just gonna say, we're just gonna write like, don't look. This is our wood grain pattern right here. There we go. Don't look. Alright, so I'm going to take the flesh tone, mix it in with intense brown. That'll be our highlight color here. Then we'll tint it down. We'll use some of the Naga green and some other stuff to make it look more witty. Took a while to join the Patreon. It was worth it. Well, thank you. Thank you for the kind words. I really do care about all of my Patreon people because without them, I would not be doing what I am doing. That is as literal as possible. So, thank you all. I know a lot of people are excited for all the new Patreon stuff. Again, our first video or class of all of our new content is happening next week. And then the $10 tier is happening the 26th. We're just texturizing everything here. I'm sorry, Nomad. This is gonna be the year you learn to paint, man. Well, it is a journey. What's funny too, so what's gonna happen now? Don't fall for this trap. This is a mental health trap that's about to happen to a lot of you. Okay, so don't fall for this either. What you're about to see, okay? You're gonna see all of these Instagram painters. You're gonna see all these Twitch streamers, right? You're gonna see all these internet painting people, okay? And what you're gonna see is they're gonna start doing. They're gonna do like my year in review posts where they're gonna make a little like square post. Maybe something more than that, of like, wow, look at how much better I got this year, or like, look at what I'm so proud of this year, right? And while that's totally fine, right? Everybody should be allowed to share posts like that. Don't look at that and then feel bad, right? In comparison, if you feel like you didn't get like incrementally better as a painter this year, whatever. This year shouldn't count in general, right? Like, we're going through a lot right now, so like if your jeans don't fit, it's okay. Don't forget that. But don't forget, they're only showing you like their best paint jobs. So, you know, I've already seen that sort of starting to make its rounds of people being like, here are the things I'm most proud of this year. And definitely don't compare yourself to anything like that. Enjoy the content, enjoy the creators, enjoy the painters, but don't use that as like a measuring tool for yourself, because people that paint all the time have a wide array of things to choose to show off. So definitely don't fall for the feeling bad trick of I didn't paint enough this year, I didn't get better this year, like whatever. So don't fall too far for that, because even I looked at one of those posts because somebody was like, look at how better I've gotten in 1 year, and I'm like, I didn't really get better this year, but that didn't really matter, right? Like, who cares? I mean, it's all subjective anyway. But every year, towards the end of the year, like clockwork, you'll start seeing that. So don't beat yourself up. That's so funny. Well, I'm glad, Fontana, you can take a vacation. I was actually telling Justin I wish I could like take a full week off and not do anything. and like not feel bad about it. But it is what it is. I did take a 2-day vacation to that cabin this year, so I guess that's as much as I get. But alright, let's zoom this out. Are we feeling like that's a believable roof? I'm feeling like that's good. You can see the variance. Oh my god. What did I just do? Hold on. Oh my god. What was that? Hold up. I'm glad you guys got to see that. That was enjoyable. Alright, so we're gonna tone that down. Like I said, I'm gonna make a dark wash here with some green in it. And I'm using green just because it's a great contrast color with browns and reds. Anytime you're painting wood and you want to sort of alter the hues, you should go for green. It works out better. Natural 1 on a Dex chat. Check. Who do you think I am, Ann? I'm not in here playing D&D with y'all. I'm just kidding. I don't know if that's a regular thing she's doing now, but I hopped in on one of her painting big deals and saw she was like pretending to be like a headmaster at like an assassin's school. I have no idea what's going on, but I like that that's the direction she's going in. I think everybody should have something that they do that is unique, and I think that's perfect. I was so confused at first, and I'm like, now I get what's going on. She's like playing D&D with the chat, and I thought that was really cool. There we go. So what I'm doing is I'm just sort of glazing this on top. And it's very subtle, but it makes a difference. Handing out motivational advice, well, we're trying. We're trying. I mean, you see my attitude in the Discord channel. So, you know, like a good stir fry, I'm trying to be a little sweet, a little salty. And definitely fulfilling. For at least an hour. And then, you know, you're hungry again. But I'm going to apply the same wash a little bit on the gray edge here. I'm going to push it towards Sophie. I almost said Shoshi. That's funny. I was talking to her earlier today about some in-person painting events, possibly for next year. So I'm going to push this towards the body here to add some variance. A little bit of a glaze. I'm going to add a little bit more pigment. This isn't really doing it for me. There we go. I want to be able to see this is a different color happening. There we go. Dope. All right. That, oh, nope. Need a little bit right here. This can't be all one color. There we go. I'm with it. We can rock with that. A little bit up here. A little something like that. All right, cool. Let's work on the bag. I'm gonna move over here. Intense brown. Oh, sorry. Hello. I am doing the Miniature Monday show. Do what? Okay, well, I can't do anything about it. Okay, thank you. Bye. My dad's like, well, I got something for your dog. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do, man? Alright. So, bag, right? What we're looking for are placing our initial highlights. Somebody pushing it right up underneath the folds here to make sure it's good and believable. In the smaller sections where the folds are really close together up here, I don't necessarily worry about trying to keep them separated, only because we're going to go back with a brighter color, and that's where that sort of more finer detail stuff gets put into place. There's no reason to sort of like paint something just to immediately cover it up, unless you need the reference, of course, right? So if you're not somebody that's going to like knock something out in one quick session, then that would make sense. one of the most rewarding things about doing all the private lessons I've done this year is sort of like whenever, you can get a lot out of a private lesson with me if it's just like a one-time thing. And I always suggest if you're only going to do like one, and it is expensive, so I mean I get it, right? But if you're going to do a one-off lesson with me, usually a demonstrative lesson or a concept lesson is usually the best, unless you're doing a hobby at home kit. Those are always the best bang for your buck. But what I enjoy the most about doing private lessons is whenever people, like when I get to the point to where I can be like, we're just going to ignore this, and they understand why. Like they understand, right? Like, well, we're going to end up painting that much brighter anyway, and it's such a small surface area, we're just going to slap color on and then go refine it later. Like, kind of having them pick up on the different techniques that I do is always very satisfying. So what I did is I took a little bit of the skin tone, a little bit of the yellow, mixed it into the intense brown, as we're now working our way in. You can see I'm laying this color in like directly up underneath the folds here. Oop. I say that and it's like not in view, but and this highlight is a little bit like under the brightness I would typically do for an immediate highlight, I guess, right? Like normally I'd jump a little bit brighter than that, so no particular reason, I just didn't mix it bright enough. Alright, but you can see, right, very dull here. Now I've moved more over here, better highlight. Kim6 Pizza, what's up? What's up? Are you new here? Are you new? It's a cool place to be if you're new. Everybody's so nice. Except Justin, he's mean, but everybody else is nice. There he is. Alright, so we're gonna go a little bit brighter this time around, probably to the color that I wished I had had. Dr. Magnus, 1982. I bet that was a crazy year in Miami. Alright, so I'm gonna grab more of the skin tone, more of the yellow, a little bit more of the skin tone, actually. 1-to-1 ratio, water to paint. And this should be great. Let's see. Alright. So, we're going to the top edges of all the folds. Not bright enough. More skin tone. There we go. I want it to be more on the yellow tan side than I want it to be on the skin tone side of the color world here, so that way it looks very nice. Now then, that highlight is so nice. That's what I was looking for. So that looks like a nice, smooth transition. Obviously, this is a little bit more involved than what we typically do with Miniature Monday, but we have twice the time to rock and roll. So I am definitely thoroughly pleased. We'll keep rocking with it. All right, this side of the set. It's never gonna get old. We're gonna keep highlighting it up. I don't like this angle that I'm dealing with, but it's okay. Alright, yeah, this looking good. Very pleased. I might want a little bit more down towards that bottom edge. I'm going to thin this out just so I can kind of very gently glaze something right here. Let's see what I can do. That'll work. I just needed to add a slight increase in tone right down there. No, not that. There we go. We'll just wipe it off. That's pretty good, Nomad. So what he did is he called Taco Bell to complain about his burger. That's always good. I've had that before. Like I've had somebody message me before, and they're asking me about, like, hey, where's this video in XYZ, and I'm like, I've never done a video about that. And then they're like, I swear you did, da, 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 da. Are you sure it was whatever? And then they realize they're like thinking I'm a different painter. Gotta love it. I've added more yellow to this just to give it a slight yellow tint in the brightest highlights. Ogre skin, of course. If you don't have ogre skin at home, it's just like a pretty solid golden tone yellow. Nothing too revolutionary in terms of finding a compatible color if you don't have the exact one. But it's always important to use these alternating colors. You never want to paint a white wall white. That's fine art rule number 1. Everything is a multitude of multiple hues and tones and not one color. So that's why we went and tinted the bricks. That's why we went and tinted the stone. All these things add up to a great result. I feel like that looks really good, actually. I'm very pleased. Sophie's sack is looking nice, full, and textured. Gotta love it. All right. As we just literally drop the entire paint handle. All right, cool. Look, we're going to chip all the primer off this miniature before next week. That's my plan. That's my goal. I primed it on the paint handle. That's why the paint handle looks new, because it's covered in black primer. But, so really I'm looking at our time here. What could we really get ourselves into without getting too far gone for next week? Let me see. All right, should we do, let's base coat her outfit, and that's pretty much it. So we're gonna take cinnamon red, and we'll call it a day, since we'll be doing it next week as well, which will be cool, right? Focus just as much time as we did to her basing element and bag to the rest of her body. It's gonna be good. I really like cinnamon red. Cinnamon red is more of a rust brown red than it is a blood red red. If you've got blood red, rust brown, and cinnamon red in your possession, you'll probably get what I mean by that, but all right. If I'm remembering correctly, her outfit is kind of confusing to paint. Oh, it's all too thin. Okay. I must have laid the paint out on some water on the palette, because that's not right. There we go. But yeah, her outfit's kind of hard to discern, especially since I just straight up did black this week. But I'll get it sectioned out. Only because there's a lot of trim and such. Little piece of dust there. Pizza dust. I don't know if anybody's ever watched the show People Do Nothing. If you have, though, pizza dust reminds me of peanut dust. That was such a funny show. It was a show Sydney introduced me to after we watched the What We Do in the Shadows show. After that season ended, we watched People Do Nothing. Let's go ahead and do her boots. Oh, is that a piece of flash right there? No. Okay. I was about to say. What have I done? What have I done? Okay. Oh. The back of that. It's amazing how dull this color is as it dries compared to out of the bottle. I mean, look at the difference on the left and right? But I actually prefer colors that dull down like that because it means you can glaze with them a lot better than just like regular pigmented paints. What color have I been working with that dries? Oh, ooh, it's a Games Workshop color. Shh, don't tell. Don't tell. But I've been painting some Death Guard. And so I have the actual Death Guard green color. The student sent it to me. You love the bricks. Thank you. I appreciate it. We've spent quite a bit of time texturing. Don't look here. That's why it says don't look, because that part of the mini isn't sculpted. But we're doing a higher standard of quality for this paint job, since the last one we're doing of the year. Next week, I will have info for all of you to send me your paint jobs that you completed over the course of this year with the Miniature Monday kits. I may literally make like a burner Gmail account and just be like, hey, send me your photos. It's probably going to be the easiest way to do it, since there's like too many ways to message me. I don't want to have to look all over the world. So okay. But I think we'll just call it here. I know next week we're going to be spending a lot of time on skin. All of her accoutrements. We may actually use the Vex as well. I kind of have some ideas for that. But 2-session paint job. Loving it already. I feel like we could go back and work on the tiles. Glazing them, or sorry, the shingles. Glazing them kind of dulled it down a bit. But beyond that, as per usual, thanks for hanging out. Remember, this weekend we have our basic $5 Patreon class. That is the best way to support me as a very large starving artist. So I'm extra starving. But you can check that out, patreon.com/minipaintingstudio. Join the Scholar program. Become a scholar. Learn to paint even more than you do here. Make sure you subscribe on Twitch Prime, or just Twitch whatever. You can do that for free using your Amazon Prime account. Hit that sub button, link your Amazon account, give Reaper the monies. And that's pretty much it. Do you have anything exciting for us in the world of Reaperland, Justin?
No, I do not. Nothing to elaborate on.
Well, that's pretty much it. You painting animals. I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. I hope you find $20 in your pocket. I hope you're on the good list this year. And Rudolph leaves you a nice present on your roof. So, do we have any raid target today?
Yeah, I think we're going to be raiding
Is it someone literally playing in the mode?
Yeah, she's like a sculptor of pots and bowls.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Sculpting.
you're gonna sculpt mud. Like, all right. Either way, awesome
Pottery.
pottery.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.